I'm Ghost. Welcome to the first episode of my Novice division covering series. I don't know the words. I'm bad at English. Series where I cover the Novice division of League Zero. In this episode, we will be covering Week 4 matches between Edinburgh Monarchs and Wisdom Academy. Here, and then Geometric versus SBC, and finally OTW versus Hyperflex. So we'll start off with OTW versus Hyperflex. OTW won 3-0, and I asked. Hyperflex gave me no response to the questions I asked, and I got two responses from OTW. These were from Urban Hero, the social media manager, and me, the main tank player. Urban Hero said, pretty good, but a good feeling of happiness for the overall pretty good. Yes, and I'm the media manager, but a good feeling of happiness for the day, but it's back to the grind. That was for the question. Congrats on your first win. You've been robbed twice. How does it feel to finally stand on top? Obviously referring to the victory over Hyperflex. Second, then they said that they personally don't like tier lists, but Urban Hero considers himself a top 3 team. And then the final question I asked is how were they going to do with SBC in the final week before Swiss rounds, and they said, looking at SBC right now, they are underperforming, and I hate to say that they look like Season 2 Rio Redemption. Me said that they were never robbed, and that they lost fair and square because they lacked the mental fortitude. They cannot let themselves get overconfident again. They're not top yet, misunderstanding what I was saying, that's fine. But one win means nothing to us, we are working for a league win. Basically, me is saying that as long as they do well in the closing parts of the season, they're happy. In relation to the PRs section, to the PRs question, and he said, every time they talk about PRs, it's just to meme and see others' reaction. I like looking at Acru stuff because it provides some good analysis and feedback. I don't care about PRs because the only thing that matters is actual rankings. Then finally, the third question, he said, same as any other team. Like I said, we tend to get overconfident, so stay in the game mentally and get to 3-0 for our map differential heading into Swiss. So I personally want to say that Tree is my man of the match, or player of the match, or MVP. I'm English. I use English sports terms. So then we will go on to Geometric versus Hyperflex. Not Hyperflex versus SBC. So I only got one response from Seattle Battle Cattle in their 3-0 defeat to Geometric. The questions were, despite your great improvement since that week 1 defeat to Hyperflex, you still haven't managed to win. You play OTW in the final week before Swiss. How will you prepare coming into this game? Florida, the off-tank player, said, honestly, despite our lackluster performance in games, we have been steadily improving over the course of these past couple weeks. We have been trying to integrate new members of the team into our system, and because of that, we are essentially starting from scratch. This week was our first week, and I think you will see a surprising improvement over the next few weeks. We may still struggle, but once we get into the Swiss, we are confident we will be able to catch up to the top 4 teams. Basically that's saying, it's saying, we improving, be scared. The second question eyes ask, your changes are beginning to show, and Lanox and Eidolon seem to be at the forefront. Is this a team enabling? Is this a team enabling the DPS, or is it actually solo carry potential? Florida said it's a mix between both. Lanox and Eidolon are starting to gel, and they've become the bedrock of this team. But the other lineups of the team, aka the tank lineup and the support lineup, are also starting to progress and get on the same page. Then finally, which team are they most hoping to play in the Swiss tournament? While I believe that Hyperflex will be our best opportunity to at least put up a fight, I think the game we are looking to is an Edinburgh Monarchs rematch. We want another crack at them now we've settled most of our lines. Also, if we can nail down a map strength, I think we will have an opportunity. Basically, just saying, as long as we get one win, we're happy, and we'd also like to play Edinburgh. Then it's Geometric. So Geometric broke the speedrun record in League 0 this week. So, and because of that, I asked them how they think that will impact the team environment in the future. Elianos, the former team manager and I think now assistant manager, said they expected the win, and they would need to fact check the statistic, and they expect SBC to improve, especially with Dason, Geometric's former flex support, on the flex support role. And then I asked about Wooly being the new captain, and Aliani said I'll leave that one to the players. And then finally, how worried are Geometric going into the game against Wisdom Academy next week? And Aliani said, WA honestly looked sloppy this week and overall worse than we had thought. Still definitely the number one team, but also beatable. Vi and Spongy are definitely the stars of that team, and we'll do our best to come up with strategies to mitigate their impact. Although I am fairly sure we beat them in the 1v1 matchups. Overall, not too scared, rather excited for a nail-biter of the match. So Alianos is very confident that they can beat Wisdom Academy next week. However, before we move on to predictions, we need to review the Edinburgh and Wisdom game. I mean, to be fair, the player and staff and comments have summarised the geometric, OTW, SPC and Hyperflex performances up rather well. So I'm actually going to go a bit more in detail with the Edinburgh versus Wisdom result. As expected, Wisdom came out firing and managed to win the series 3-1. I asked Wisdom some questions and no one replied, so I'm just going to go into some detail. So Wisdom, so far since League 0 Season 3 draft, have won 6 games and have lost 1 map after a 16 map win streak. So I did ask them how they will improve going into another tough opponent in Geo, but obviously no one replied. So I'm going to actually try and answer this myself. At points, mini-maps did seem to be feeding, I guess you could say, like going too far forward without the support of this team, and especially on Volsky, that really screwed them up. So it's going to be a tough, if they don't improve that synergy between mini-maps and the rest of the team, it could be a very tough week, especially with the buffs to Soldier. Then there's also the fact that, so they definitely need to clean up their 2CP play. They cannot risk losing that losing like that on 2CP again. Is that's the sort of thing that might be the difference between them coming in second again, or them coming in first. Finally, we'll go over Edinburgh. I did get one response from someone who's part of Edinburgh, and that was Youngsu. So, despite the loss, Youngsu said that they feel fine, and they're all very excited, and they need to keep improving like every week prior. Youngsu is also as worried about Hyperflex as Wisdom Academy, which I find slightly strange, as Hyperflex are probably the weakest team in Novice right now. And then finally, I asked the Edinburgh players and staff about the management and staff changes, and in conclusion it says there was a lack of scrims being found, so despite winning they felt like there was a problem with management. And then the one scrim that was set up by myself was against 2.8 or 2.19, which I'd also like to just say something. That 2.819 advertised himself as a 2.4k team. So yeah, that's kind of an F. They are improving they think they are improving at a much faster rate now, and after the recent signing of Valerie and trading of Bishern and Killswitch to Hyperflex seem to be they seem to have a much more cohesive and squad. I'm going to go in a bit about how Edinburgh can improve before going into predictions. Edinburgh, they need to work on their rotations, especially on Lee Jong, and they also need to work on peeling for the backline, specifically Pog. Pog got caught out many times and killed before the fight started, which led to a massive disadvantage, and although sometimes they did end up winning the fight, it ended up not mattering at all, as Pog would fall, and that would cause a massive lopsidedness in ult charge, giving Red Panda call before Pog often. Prediction times. The games this week we have Edinburgh versus Hyperflex, Wisdom versus SBC. Wait, is it that? Yeah. Is it? No. Wait, yeah, it is. And then Geometric. No, it's okay. Edinburgh versus Hyperflex, Wisdom versus Geometric, and OTW versus SBC. Predictions: Edinburgh to beat Hyperflex 3-0, Wisdom to beat Geometric 3-0, OTW to beat SBC 3-0. I've been Ghost. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next. I hope to get interviews from actual recorded interviews from players and staff in the future, but at the minute I cannot. This week I couldn't get any. I'll see you all in the next one. Goodbye.